to
a radical
and there's lots of
self-acceptance
text messages on the screen. It'd be like, pause and read these. I want you guys to see the proof. And I try to read it and I'd be like, what is this? I should be reading a book. Why is this happening in my life? I also felt condescending. I'm not trying to go off on other YouTubers, even though that's what I do. I'm glad these women got paid. They honestly talked for a long time, and that's all is required on YouTube.
Our first look tonight at the arrest of what it showed was mass men forcing.
Most importantly, we need to accept that there exists potential within us, and that the possibilities for our development are endless. Or as Jung writes, since the growth of personality comes out of the unconscious, which is by definition unlimited, the extent of the personality now gradually realizing cannot in practice be limited either. But while self-acceptance is a preparatory step on the path of individuation, it is also a step in and of itself produces strong therapeutic benefits. In volume 13 of his collected works, Jung quotes a letter from one of his patients about the inner change that occurs when one comes to accept him or herself. Out of evil, much good has come to me. By keeping quiet, repressing nothing, remaining attentive, and by accepting reality, taking things as they are and not as I wanted them to be, by doing all this, unusual knowledge has come to me, and unusual powers as well, such as I could never have imagined before. I always thought that when we accepted things, they overpowered us in some way or other. This turns out not to be true at all, and it is only by accepting them that one can assume an attitude towards them. In addition to self-acceptance, Jung also advocates an increased acceptance of those close to us, particularly our family members. Jung maintained that far too many people waste far too much time in the tangles of what he called the boring family drama. Unless we have suffered a traumatic experience that we have yet to come to terms with, it is better to accept any past mistreatment as a given condition of our life. Playing the victim, dwelling in pity or blame, trying to change another or trying to account for why we were mistreated is wasted life. But no matter how much the parents and grandparents may have sinned against the child, the man who is really adult will accept these sins as his own condition, which has to be reckoned with. Only a fool is interested in other people's guilt, since he cannot alter it. The wise man learns only from his own guilt. Practicing a radical self-acceptance in conjunction with an increased acceptance of others places us on the firm ground of reality from which to take the next step on the path of individuation. And this is to adopt a goal or life mission. I have observed, writes Jung, that a life directed to an aim is in general better, richer, and healthier than an aimless one, and that it is better to go forward with the stream of time than backwards against it. Adopting a goal or life mission is integral to individuation, as psychological wholeness is not approached through mere passive meditation. Rather, a constant embrace of challenges leads to the actualization of our potential, and novel experience reaches us as a general rule that a psychic activity, and it is a life mission that generates only on the basis of equivalence in life. A pathological interest, a goal or example, can help pull us from the passivity of a disease can be replaced by diverting our focus of the energy attached to another interest to more constructive so as not to be delayed pursuits in the brevity of human life.
Hours right there. You know, that's like what, 20, 25 hours a week? It's 100 hours a month. That's 2.5 full work weeks. That's half a year of work weeks per year. And your time, if your time is worth $20 an hour, which is a radical underestimation, and if your time is worth, which is a radical underestimate.
Stuck in a situation that seems to dry.
It's probably more like 50 if you think about it in terms of deferred wages. If you're wasting 20 hours a week, you're wasting $50,000 a year, and you're doing that now because you're young, old, wasting $50,000 a year is a way bigger catastrophe.
And every closed door.
Wasting $50,000 a year is a way bigger catastrophe than it would be for me to waste it, because I'm not going to last nearly as long. So if your life isn't everything it could be, you could ask yourself, well, what would happen if you stop wasting the opportunities that are in front of you? Who knows how much more efficient, 10 times more efficient, 20 times more efficient.
Is the spontaneous formation of an attitude that affirms life,
Wasting $50,000 a year
in the words of Jung, is beyond the reach of emotional entanglements and violent shock. A consciousness detached from the world. Or as Jung writes
Sale tickets for future events.
if you sum up what people tell you about their experiences on the path of
It's way
individuation,
bigger.
you can
They're all
formulate it
bundled
this
together in
way.
like an absolutely
Chronological
To
pathway.
themselves. They could accept
Wasting the
themselves.
opportunities that are in front of you.
They were able to
Who
become
knows how much more
reconciled
efficient?
to
10 times more
themselves,
efficient, 20 times more
and
efficient,
thus were
1,338.
reconciled
So
to
20 times more
adverse
efficient. That's the
circumstances and
PTO
events.
preparing you for the
To
most
attain the benefits of
distribution.
individuation requires that we
You have no
take a
idea how
step that
efficient
is
efficient
simple
people
in
get. It's
theory,
completely,
but
it's off
difficult
the
in
charts.
practice.
Well, if we all got our act together
We must
collectively
focus our attention
and stop
self-worth,
making things worse,
and in the most
because that's
objective
another thing
manner
people do all the time. Not
possible,
only do they
assess our
not do
life
what they
in the
should do
current
to make
state
things
of our
better, they
character.
actively attempt to make things worse, being
Wisdom
spiteful or
begins
resentful or
only
arrogant
when
or
one
deceitful
takes things
or
as they
homicidal
are.
or genocidal,
Explain
all
Jung.
things all
So it is
bundled
a
together in
healing
an
attitude
absolutely
when one
pathological
can agree
pattern.
with the facts
If
as they
relationships
are.
stop stagnant,
Only
trying
then
to make
can
things
we
work, we
thrive.
have no idea how much better to reach in those moments. It's
Radical
natural to wonder if you're
self-acceptance
moving in
is
the wrong
needed to
direction
individuate.
versus forgotten about you
This
entirely.
entails
But
identifying
what if I told you
and
that
accepting our character flaws and weaknesses, but also our
and every
talents
day,
and strengths.
and every closed
It
door,
requires
and
an
every,
acceptance of past
I
mistakes
mean, like the
and
universe has
failures,
forgotten about you.
and a clear grasp of the
Entirely.
current
1, 3, 2,
conditions
3,
of our
2.
life in the recognition that we
1,
cannot
0,
go
1, 3, 1,
forward
3, 2, 1, 5,
except from
4,
the
1,
place
0,
where we
5.
happen to be.
The
And
truth
perhaps
is, the
most
universe
importantly,
operates
we
on a
need to
different
accept that there
timeline.
exists a vast
While you're
potential
focused on
within
immediate
us,
results,
and that the possibilities for our
You can't even
development
see
are
yet.
endless. Or as Jung
you haven't
writes,
imagined.
since the growth of
Change
personality
everything. This
comes
is a
out
wishful
of the
thinking or a spiritual
unconscious,
fantasy,
which is by
or is it?
definition unlimited,
Or is this how
the
transformation works at its
extent of
deepest
the
level?
personality, now gradually
Amex.
realizing itself,
For the
cannot in
Amex?
practice be limited
Pre-sale
either.
tickets for future events can
But
be
while
subject
self-acceptance
by
is a preparatory
availability
step
and
on the
race.
path of individuation, it is also a step
Take a
that,
trip.
in and of itself, produces strong
haven't
therapeutic
imagined.
benefits. In
change
volume 13
everything.
of
This
his
is a
collected
wishful
works,
thinking or a spiritual
Jung quotes
fantasy.
a
What
letter
is
from
it?
one
Is
of
it?
his patients
Or is
about
this how
the
transformation
inner
works at
change
its
that
deepest
occurs
level?
when one comes to accept
Amex.
him or herself.
Or the Amex.
Out of evil,
Pre-sale tickets
much
for future
good has
events
come to me
can be subject
by
by
keeping quiet.
availability and
Repressing
rate.
nothing does not free us from suffering.
And by accepting
It is a
reality,
path that generates fulfillment,
they are,
and not as I wanted them to be. By doing all this, unusual knowledge has come to me, and unusual powers as well, such as I could never have imagined before. I always thought that when we accepted things, they overpowered us in some way or other. This turns out not to be true at all. And it is only by accepting them that one can assume an attitude towards them. In addition to self-acceptance, Jung also advocates an increased acceptance of those close to us,
That's the universe.
particularly our family members. Jung maintains that far too many people waste far too much time
Tickets for future events
in the tangles of what he calls
availability
the
and race.
boring family drama. Unless we have suffered a traumatic experience that we have yet to come to terms with, it is better to accept any past mistreatment as a given condition of our life. Playing the victim, dwelling in pity or blame, trying to change another or trying to account for why we were mistreated is wasted life.
Coincidence. That's the universe rearranging.
But no matter
everything in your
how
favor,
much
even
the
when
parents and
nothing is going
grandparents may
right.
have sinned
Think
against the
about the last
child,
time
the man who is really adult
stuck in a
will
situation
accept
that you
these
could drive on
sins
forever.
as his own
Relationship that felt
condition,
stagnant.
which has to be
Or a
reckoned
goal that kept
with.
slipping just out of reach. In those
Only a
moments,
fool
it's
is
natural to wonder if
interested
you're
in
moving in
other
the wrong
people's
direction.
guilt, since he cannot alter it. The wise man learns only from his own guilt.
You find yourself staring out the window longer than
Practicing a
usual.
radical
You catch your mind
self-acceptance
wandering
in
during
conjunction
conversations
with
that
an
used to hold your
increased
attention.
acceptance
Small
of
things that
others
never
places us
bothered
on the
you
firm
before
ground
suddenly
of
feel
reality
irritating.
from which to take the
Like
next
wearing a
step on the
shirt
path
that's too
of
tight. This isn't
individuation.
burnout or fatigue.
And
It's
this is
something
to
your
adopt a
system
goal or life
is trying to tell you.
mission.
Your system's trying to tell you
I
something
have
important.
observed,
It's like a
writes
smoke detector
Jung,
going off. It's like
that a life
and like the alarm
directed
isn't
to
the
an
problem. It's
aim
what's
is in
underneath
general
that needs your
better,
attention. Your inner
richer,
awareness is
and
picking up on changes that
healthier
are coming
than an
before they
aimless
fully
one,
materialize in
and
your
that it is
external
better
world.
to
Side
go forwards with the stream of time than backwards
Giant
against it.
scientists have studied this phenomenon.
Adopting a goal or life mission is integral to individuation, as psychological wholeness is not approached through mere passive meditation.
Thousands of tiny signals.
Rather, a constant embrace of challenges leads to the actualization of our
Trust
potential
the universe
and
loading
novel
the universe.
experiences
Whenever these subtle
bring
indicators remind a
unconscious
great feeling
content to
of
the light of
anticipation that is something that
And it is a
is
life
like about
mission
to
that
shift. You probably
generates
experienced this
full
before on a smaller scale. Ever had the
participation in
feeling that
life.
someone was about to call you?
What is more,
And then your
a
phone
goal
rang or
or
walked into a
mission
room
can help
and
pull
immediately
us from
sense
the
tension even
passivity of
though
a
no one
disease
was
of
arguing. That's
despair
your
by diverting our
system
focus
picking
and
up on information
energy
that's
from
real but not immediately
pathological
visible. The same thing
interest
happens
to
with
more
literature. Life changes your
constructive and
action
reality-based
pursuits.
pursuits.
Detecting shifts time before they
Practical
just
experience
to prepare to become the
general
person
rule
who can
that
handle
a
what's
psychic
approaching. The
activity
feeling about how
finds
women
its
have
river
river
only
carved
on
just
the
about
basis of
rock
equivalence.
over
A
centuries.
pathological interest,
Day by day,
for
nothing
example,
physically changed.
an
The rock looks
attachment
solid
to
and
a symptom
immovable, but
can be
beneath the
replaced
surface,
only
water
by
is
generating
consistently
attachment to
applying
another
pressure,
interest,
finding tiny cracks,
so as not to be
gradually
delayed
wearing
after
away
choosing a goal or
resistance.
life
Then
mission.
one day,
We should
approaching
realize that
impossible
there is no
becomes
single right choice. Psychological wholeness can be approached from many angles, so we just need to find something
The
that is
river
intrinsically
breaks
rewarding
through,
enough to
creating a
keep
new
us
path that
motivated,
looks like it
and
happened
challenging
overnight,
enough
but
to
was
create the novel
actually the result of
experiences necessary for
persistence.
self-realization.
Your
But like all
breakthroughs
major
following the
life
same pattern
decisions, in
forces.
choosing a mission,
You
we
can't
must be the one to decide.
gentle
We
pressure
should not rely on
obstacles
others
with path
to choose
resistance
for
that
us.
decisions
Or
do
as
not
Jung writes,
beginning to soften.
why are you looking around for
Barriers
help?
permanent
Do
or
you
developing
believe that help
cracks.
will come from
What feels
outside?
impossible right
What is to
now
come is created in you
but the
and from
universe
you.
doesn't just
Hence,
remove something
look
that's
into
off.
yourself.
It also
Do not compare,
creates
do not measure.
magnetic pull
No other way is like
serves your
yours.
highest
All
good.
other ways deceive
What
and
serves
tempt you.
your highest
You must
good.
fulfill the way that is in
You'll
you.
find yourself drawn to books
With a
that
mission in
contain exactly
hand,
the
we merely need
information
to
you'll
work
feel
towards
compelled
its
to attend events
achievement
where
in
you
a
meet
consistent
pivotal
and
people you'll
disciplined
develop
manner
interest
in
with
order
you,
to
random but actually
individuate
prepare
your
you for
human rights.
opportunities that don't
How are
exist
you
yet.
fulfilling your
This
life's
isn't
task,
your
your
wandering
mission,
anxiety.
your raison d'etre,
It isn't
the
you
meaning and
wandering
purpose of your
aimlessly.
existence?
This is you being guided
This
with
is the question
precision
of
toward experiences
individuation,
that you
the
didn't
most
know
fateful
existed.
of
The most
all
powerful part of
questions.
this process happens when
To
you stop
avoid
trying
being
to
thrown off
figure
course,
out
we
the
should be
how.
aware that as we walk the path of
Find yourself staring
individuation,
at the
we
window
will
longer
encounter
than
setbacks
usual.
and failures and make mistakes and errors. But these experiences should not discourage us, for as young rogues, we must make mistakes.
Magnets that drops
We must live out our own vision of life. If you avoid errors,
probably
you do not
noticed
live.
that when
In a sense, even it may be said that every life is a mistake, for no one has
Probably
found
noticed
the
that when you're
truth.
genuinely happy, good
It
things
is
seem
also
to happen.
useful to keep in mind that individuation does not free us from the conditions of human existence.
Like the
We will
alarm
still
is like, this isn't positive thinking